remember that every problem you have is a direct consequence of who you believe yourself to be. So stop trying to fix the problem with strategy. Stop trying to fix it out in the world, but recognize who would you have to be? What is your identity that would create this problem, that would consider it a problem?
Welcome to the Secrets to Abundant Living podcast. Your guide on this journey is Amy Sylvis, ready to unlock the keys to a life of true abundance. We're diving into everything from financial freedom and optimal health to meaningful relationships, geographic freedom, and everything in between. It's about creating a life rich in experiences, purpose, and joy. Get ready for empowering conversations, expert insights, and real-life stories that inspire you to live abundantly. If you're ready for the secrets to an abundant life, hit that subscribe button now, and let's get started.
Secrets to Abundant Living podcast community, welcome to another outstanding episode. I am thrilled to welcome our guest. Before we introduce him, our podcast is growing, which we are so grateful for. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Amy Sylvis. I'm the founder and CEO of Sylvis Capital. We connect investors to hands-off real estate investment opportunities, but it isn't about growing wealth. It's about creating abundance. And so our special guest today, we're really excited to hear about Calvin Correli's perspective on abundance, what he's all about. Calvin, tell us a bit more about yourself, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah. I am all about upgrading the human operating system.
Wow.
That's what I do. Yes. So, I have been a coder my entire life. My dad taught me to code when I was like 5, 6 years old, and I've loved it ever since. I've got that mind of a programmer. I've built a software company called Simplero, where we help coaches run their business in one platform and, express their genius into the world and share what they have, their unique frequency, if you will, in the world, and make it just simple for them to do that. Our members have made, I think I looked this morning, $817 million combined so far. So lots of money being made there, which is awesome.
Right.
And lots of impact and lots of lives changed. But yeah, what I've come to realize is that we're running outdated code in our, the way we're wired, which is a code based in limitation. And that gives rise then to scarcity and lack and fear and suffering and disease and uncertainty and all of the dysfunctional relationships, all the other things. When the truth is that who we are is infinite, boundless, timeless beings. We're spirit, we're soul. And my perspective on abundance is that abundance is not something that we seek. Abundance is who we are. And so it's about removing the things that are in our system, I call them mind bugs, that make us believe that we are not that makes us believe that we're limited, when the reality is that abundance is our nature, love is our nature, freedom is our nature, vitality and health is our nature. All of the things that we're seeking is what we already are. We're just stuck in running old code that makes us believe that it's something we have to work for or strive for.
How empowering. How empowering. We mentioned a little bit before we started recording, think about, just this maybe culture, the American culture, both of you and I are American, maybe teaches us this lack or this zero-sum game. And we don't necessarily, find ourselves maybe defaulting to abundance. Why do you think that is? Do you have insight into how that happened?
So fun fact, actually, I'm not American, I'm Danish.
Oh, forgive me. Well, there's my assumption. Sorry.
Yeah. No worries. I'm born and raised in Denmark for the first half of my life, and then I moved to the US, and then I've been here for some decades. But yeah, so it's the same. It's very much the same in Denmark. I think it's very universal. I think it's every civilization basically is that's the worldview. And I think the reason why is two things. One is it's just how our mind is wired. It's coded for inadequacy, I'm not enough, scarcity, there's not enough, and fear or uncertainty, I don't know what's going to happen and I'm concerned about it. These are wirings. Our mind is always looking out for, am I enough to be safe, to be loved, to be whatever? Do I have enough to be safe, to eat, to feed, whatever? or like what's going to happen in the future. Like our mind is wired for survival.
Mhm.
And so it's just normal or natural that it's going to be this way until we wake up and recognize, oh, I was bought into the illusion. Like when you go watch a movie, right? And you're like you get really into the story and you identify with the hero. And then there's this moment where you're like, okay, this is just a movie. It's just a film. Like it's the same thing. Like at some point we have to wake up and realize, oh, this is just all stuff that's happening on the movie screen of life, but it's not actually reality. It's just that our senses make it so freaking vivid.
Yeah.
We're, oh God, like this seems so real, right? And the second reason I think is that it's just the way society works. It's designed to keep people in a neutral level. Like if they break down and they get sick, we take them to the hospital and we patch them up and we give them some drugs or we cut in them, whatever we do in hospitals, right? And if they get too high energy, like it's like we reject them as well. We're like, hey, tone it down a level. And I'm from Denmark, so it's like the law of Yenda, don't think you're anybody, like all that stuff. So we'll take you down a notch, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how it should be in a way, because society doesn't function if everybody's sick and dying, and it doesn't function if everybody's just going their own way, right? So it's like designed to have a coherence, like the solid middle that keeps things together. But that doesn't mean that we as individuals need to stay in that.
Yes. Well, I love that perspective, coming from Denmark, spending the first half of your life there, and really, that perspective isn't just uniquely American. It sounds like, as you mentioned, part of it is just how we're wired. So, recognizing that, I love that you talk about the movie. So kind of recognizing, I would imagine the first step to kind of changing this mindset and really becoming, this higher form of abundance and being is, just identifying what's going on. Because if we don't even realize the system in which we're operating, that programming that you said that's outdated, how can we possibly change it?
Exactly. And the beautiful thing about it is that the magic of it is that as soon as you see it clearly, and like not just with your mind, but like whole body, like, oh, I got it, then it shifts. It's already done. There's going to be some residual effects because your brain is wired to go down a certain path, but it'll never have the same pull. And then you can, like, each time you catch yourself, you just pull out of it and you go another direction. I'll give you an example. So for me, one of my wirings was, and I learned this thing from like the person that really made it all click for me is a guy named Peter Carl. He's awesome. I don't know if you've looked at his stuff.
No.
But what I realized, and what Peter helped me realize like a year or so ago, was like I was running a operating system that said I did something wrong.
What?
And it's not a belief. It's not like I go around thinking I did something wrong. It's just how I see the world. So it's like when I look at my first marriage and the divorce, like I did that wrong, or like how I was parenting my kids, or how I built my business, or small things like, oh, I just ate a loaf of bread. Oh shit, now I'm going to be fat, or like I did something wrong there, or like woke up my wife because I needed to get up and pee in the night, and like I did something. Like it's like everything becomes about I did something wrong, and it's like 30, 50 times a day, but I'm not conscious of any of this because it's just my operating system. And so once you see, oh, that's just a story, it's a conversation, it's a narrative that says I did something wrong. What's the truth? What's the truth? Is it possible to do anything wrong? What does it mean to do anything wrong? Who gets to decide? And you realize what I realized is that I did what I did. And at every moment of the journey, I did the best thing I knew how to do, given who I was at the time. And me judging it as wrong is me in hindsight, with the wisdom I have today, looking back and making a judgment about it, but I couldn't have done anything different. And so it's freedom of just, I did what I did. There were some consequences, some of which I liked, some of which I didn't like. Now I can deal with that. I can deal with the consequences and be like, okay, so now what do I want to do about this or that? But there's no moral judgment. There's not, I did something wrong. And then when that clicks, you realize, oh, the future, I can't do anything wrong ever in the future either, right? I can't fuck it up because I can only do what I do, and what's going to happen is what's going to happen, and then I'll deal with that. So there's so much freedom in this. And then this is one of the core mind bugs that I talk about is the idea that I did something wrong. And like the whole point is once you see it, there's freedom on the other side.
Freedom is the exact word that was coming to mind as you were telling this story of what must that feel like. I want to unpack that, but I'm also really curious. It sounds like this is running in the subconscious. How did you find this bug? What was that process like? Because I'm sure folks that are listening, I'm finding myself too of, hey, what's going on in my programming? What are the bugs that are going on that I'm not even conscious of? What was that
Exactly.
process like?
Like this is the work that I do now with my clients in my program of Recode. And the way I do it is I listen to people tell their story of like whatever they're challenged with. And then I'm listening for who would you have to be or what would you have to believe about yourself in order to feel this way, in order to experience this? Because it's like, it's not a belief. It's not like I had the story I did something wrong. It was just my world. I did something wrong. And these things get imprinted super early. I'll give you another example.
Okay.
Something that popped up where I realized, oh, I have this feeling that I'm not wanted, that I'm not wanted. And that like, which then like in relationships, in like, in business, like, you know, you can see how that can impact a lot of things. If I go at it with like, I'm not wanted, well, they're like, people are going to not buy my offers as much, or,
Right.
you know, or, you know, I'm going to try to compensate for it some way by like over delivering or overdoing and providing a relationship. And for me, it was like not just not wanted, but like even darker, like I was discarded. I was thrown away. And when I like, and it's very obvious to me where it came from because I was put in an incubator for the first 48 hours of my life. So there's no touch, there's no, you know, being held. But the truth is, of course, that I was wanted. And the reason they put me in the incubator was what they wanted. They wanted me to survive, right? Because I was born not breathing. And so, but it was still launched in my nervous system as like, I'm not wanted. And then that leads to, well, why? Why? And there's two paths usually. One is like, I'm bad, like I'm broken, I'm cursed, I'm disgusting. I'm like, there's something wrong with me that they would not want me. And the other is I did something wrong, right? And that's why. And so this is super common. Everybody has versions of these. But when you live in a world where you're not wanted, then you're going to create a reality that reflects that back to you. And you just think that that's life, but it's not, of course.
Right.
And the truth again is like what I do as a logic as programmer person is I look at it logically and then I figure out what is the truth. And so logically, what does it mean that I'm not wanted? Like by who? And like, of course, like there's 8 billion people in the world. Not everybody's going to want me, but some of them are. So what does it even mean? What most people do is they will go with affirmations, right? I'm abundant, I'm rich, I'm blah, 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 which just kind of is on top of the lie. What I do is like, we look at the lie, like what is the underlying lie that you're not even aware of? And then we see how crazy it is. Like, I'm not wanted. Like, what does that even mean? And then we look at the truth. For me, on the I'm not wanted is, well, if I'm here, it's because the universe wants me here. If the universe didn't want me here, I wouldn't be here. Right? It's that simple. And so we can let go of that. I'm bad. I'm wrong. Like something wrong with me. Well, this is who I am. I can't be anything else. So like, what does that even mean? Who gets to decide that I'm bad or what, you know? So the whole thing just dismantles. Yeah.
And the possibilities that come from that, right? I'm sure, you know, I'm not in this space like you are, but I talk to highly successful folks or folks that are trying to kickstart their life and reach their goals. And they keep trying the same things over and over again, trying to figure out why they're not able to get where they want to go. And it makes sense because if you're thinking, I'm not wanted, I'm not worthy, I did something wrong, it seems like nothing else is going to be able to solve, you know, the block that you're coming across unless you really identify these subconscious thoughts that I would imagine control so much in your life. Did I get that right? Okay.
100% right. Exactly. Yeah. And it's not even a thought, right? That's the thing. It's not that I think that. It's not a thought in my mind, but it's the world identity, the reality, the person that I believe that I am or that you believe that you are.
Wow.
So it's invisible to you. And you're exactly right. Like what happens is that one of two things happens. Either when people everybody tends to go at it with like strategy, right? What is the thing? Like, like how do I invest in real estate? Or how do I like get opportunity? Or how do I make more money? Or how do I like 8 steps to me? I bought a program from Tony Robbins one that was like from crazy making to love making. And there was like 17 steps for the successful relationship.
Boom,
Like,
boom, boom.
that's
Yeah.
that's a lot of freaking steps, you know?
Yeah.
But that's what we all do. And then either what happens is that the mind bugs will prevent you from ever getting the result, or you get it, but then you slide back and then like it becomes this roller coaster, right? Because it's incompatible with your identity.
Yes.
Or you actually get the result and now you made the, $100 million or like got the second house or like whatever it is.
Yeah.
You realize, oh, I still don't feel safe. I don't still don't feel worthy. I still don't feel loved or like I belong or whatever it is,
Mhm.
because it wasn't about that, right? Everything we're seeking is who we already are. Like, like that's what we want. Like we want to feel abundant. We want to feel freedom. We want to feel love. We want like, but these are all our qualities, our innate qualities. We can never get them from the others outside. If you don't have them, it's because you have a rule that says, a mind bug that says, I'm not allowed to feel love until, I'm not allowed to feel safe until. But with that until is just a completely slippery slope because you're just going to move it once you get close. Because the truth is you're scared of actually feeling safe or free or happy or loving or whatever.
Wow, the goalpost keeps moving. We wonder why we're not exactly feeling the way that we thought we'd feel. Did you grow up with this kind of understanding, Calvin, or was there something that happened in your life where you kind of discovered these mind bugs?
Yes and no. I was born with like this ability to kind of see behind people's behavior.
Mhm.
It was always like growing up, people would act like in various ways, and then they would react to each other's reactions. And I was like, well, no, I think actually he's feeling really scared over there, or he feels hurt over this, or he doesn't feel like he's being heard in this situation. It's like I kind of sense those things, but I didn't say it because that wasn't something that was said in my family. Like we didn't do that, but I always like wondered and noticed. And I actually had a moment when I was in high school around age 18 where there's like a week where like the veil was off and I could literally feel everybody's thoughts, private thoughts. And it was like weird experience. And then it went away, but it was like,
Oh,
yeah, it was a wild experience.
yeah.
But then I've been sucked into this whole matrix world like everybody else. And I still am. Like I have things that pop up every week where I'm like, oh, there. Like it's different layers of it. Or yeah, different variants of it. But I've done so much work. I started my personal development journey in 2003. So that's like
Mm.
22 years ago now.
Yeah.
And it wasn't till I'll say last year that I really kind of got this piece, which is why I'm so obsessed with it. And I want to give credit to Peter Crone because he's totally the one that made it land. I so many pieces, so many things that he studied, I'd studied, but he was the one that like made me really get, oh, this is the way. Like it's the identity is buying into this whole limit itself. That's the core of it. And he's actually the ones that have like codified. He doesn't call them mind bug, he calls them context, but he's codified those. So, but yeah, for me, I work with business owners. I've spent millions of dollars in coaching programs and masterminds and all of these things. And it's all the strategies. And most of these people are not happy, right? They're not like, they might be really good at making money, but they have to constantly, go out and make fancy trips and have dinners and cocktails and like all that stuff to feel alive.
Mm.
Like that's not the life that I want. I want a life. I don't drink. I don't do coffee. Like I don't like no substances. I just want to feel alive and full of joy in my being, not because of anything outside.
And that is true abundance, isn't it? Because you don't need to draw on something external. It's what's in yourself, and that's unlimited. That isn't a resource that runs out. That isn't something that you have to actively, constantly seek if it's within you. I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but that's how I'm reading that.
Exactly.
Very
Yeah.
powerful.
Anything outside to have the experience that you want, to feel good. And now once you as you clear those mind bugs,
Mhm.
it becomes way easier to achieve whatever you want to achieve. And it
Right.
stops feeling like effort. It stops feeling like work because you're just doing things. As humans, we can't not do things. We're always doing stuff.
Yeah.
But is it stuff that's helpful and is it stuff that actually gets you to the goal? There's no, like make money, get the perfect like body and relationship and family, like all of the things is freaking awesome, right? That's what we want. We don't want it from a place of lack, feeling like, oh, if I don't have that, I'm not lovable or successful or safe or whatnot. And we don't want to do it in a way where we're fighting our own mind.
Wow. Yes. Incongruence. Incongruence. That makes perfect sense. Can you tell us about Simplero? Am I saying it correctly?
Yes.
Yeah. I'd love to understand kind of how that helps folks, how that fits into the work that you do. I'm very intrigued. Have you ever thought about having multiple streams of income? Instead of relying on just one stream of income where you're trading your time for money, how would you like to free up more of your time and live a more abundant life? As a listener of the show, you're invited to attend one of our upcoming trainings where I'll give you an inside look into how you can add passive income and get all the other perks of recession-resistant real estate investing without the headaches of being a landlord. I'll also be sharing some hidden mistakes to avoid and the criteria I personally look for when evaluating potential investment opportunities. To reserve your seat for free, go to sylviscapital.com/webinar. Again, that special link to reserve your seat for free is sylviscapital.com/webinar. I look forward to seeing you on the training. And now back to the show.
I started Simplero in 2009 because the year before, that was really when I had my big epiphany around my purpose of the way I phrased it at the time was integrating spirituality and entrepreneurship. So it was like everything I'd learned from the spiritual teacher and the spiritual, work that I'd done up to that point, like what would it look like if we actually applied that to business? So we think of our business as our sacred mission and aligned with our purpose, and that we do our inner work as entrepreneurs to clear the mind bugs and clear the stuff that gets in the way of being a clean instrument for the mission that we've chosen. And then we stay in the present and not focus on the past or the future, but we just focus on what's here right now. Of course, we want to make some plans and strategies, whatever, but the majority of the focus is right here. So that was the impetus. So I started looking at that, and then I didn't know anything. I was just, quote unquote, just a programmer. I didn't know anything about online business or coaching or any of that stuff. That was all brand new to me. So I started looking at learning online marketing and started discovering this thing called online courses in 2008. And I was like, all right, cool, I can do that. Because one of my mind bugs at the time too was I was scared of people because I felt I'd done something wrong and there's something wrong with me. Right? So of course, like being with other people is exhausting.
Right.
Which, by the way, I will posit that the whole introvert extrovert thing is BS. It's complete BS.
Really?
It's just mind bugs. And here's why. Every human needs some time alone. Every human needs some time with other people.
Yeah.
But if you have a mind bug that says, I did something wrong, I'm bad, like they're all going to reject me if I fuck up, blah, 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 then it gets exhausting to be with other people. And then you call yourselves an introvert, right? And if you have a lot of mind bugs that says like, I'm awful, and you have like thoughts that go through your mind that like negative self-talk that just makes you feel freaking miserable, then it's going to be really painful to be alone. And then you call yourself an extrovert.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's all just, we're just humans. And then we have mind bugs. Like that's it.
How freeing.
Yeah, exactly.
Truly.
So at the time I was scared of people. So I was like, okay, I can do online courses. I don't have to be in front of people and they say something nasty to me. This is why I got good at computers too. Cause like humans would say stuff and I'd feel really hurt. And so I was like, all right, let me just stick with computers. They don't talk back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was the impetus to do Simplero. And then I needed the software for my own business. And so just kept building it. I still use it to run my own business. And the idea is to really, for coaches or consultants or service-based businesses or course creators and whatnot, but that category of people, which are a lot of, for that person to give them everything that they need in one place for that business. All the tools, all the software, make sure they work really well together. And then because of how I'm wired, like I talk with my audience about mind bugs, and I have a coaching program where we work on that with people from Simplero, people not from Simplero. And I'm deeply passionate about customer service as well. So we take like something that people constantly rave about, like that. My philosophy is we just human. Like that when you reach out to the company, you talk to a human that acts as a human, like not as a robot, not as like, trying to be all professional and perfect, whatnot. Like it was just humans trying to serve people who were on a mission.
Right.
And we take that sacred, like as a sacred mission.
Powerful. Wow. I can really see how that can help. I mean, you mentioned all the people that you've helped and even helped them generate revenue. That's quite impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So, Calvin, I'm curious, for people that are listening to this, I'm sure they resonate with the mind bug, concept. They're curious on doing work for themselves, on themselves to get these barriers out of the way, get closer to who they want to be. What advice would you give folks? I mean, obviously working with you would be incredible as a step as well, but what else would you advise people to kind of help them on this journey?
Remember that every problem you have is a direct consequence of who you believe yourself to be. So stop trying to fix the problem with strategy. Stop trying to fix it out in the world, but recognize who would you have to be? What is your identity that would create this problem, that would consider it a problem? It's like if you the good old fashioned movie theater, right, where you have a screen up there and then you sit in there in the chair and behind you is a projector with a film strip that goes. And it's like the screen is the circumstances of your life. And then they're like, well, like I'm like not making enough money, or I got like, I'm fat, or my wife's fat, or or it is like that's the circumstance that I don't like. And so what people tend to do is they go like, well, how do I fix that? And so they run up to the screen and they start painting on it. They're like
Yeah.
start hanging on stuff on the screen. And then you're like, no, wait, actually, like it's all coming from that film strip back there and the projector. The
Right.
projector is who you are. It's your spirit. The
Right.
light, that's who you are. You're pure light, essentially. That's
Right.
what we are. The film strip is your mind. So everything is a result of what's in your mind. So let's go change that. And the way you change is just become aware of it. And then the circumstances change. But the cool thing is like whenever you have a struggle, I actually just went through a few days where I felt really low.
Mm.
But I know the whole time that like this is not bad. It's just something's coming up. And then the moment it clicks and I'm like, oh, that's the one. Then the whole thing lifts. But being human is that there are ups and downs. But whenever you're down, you just recognize, oh, this is just something wanting to awaken in you, and you get curious about what it is. And so your low points are like, just, there's no drama. There's no like, oh my God, or like, all that stuff. You just get to experience that. And all of it is beautiful. All of it is life.
Opportunity to get curious in those low times. I love that. And to see, as you mentioned, what is it that we believe about ourselves instead of focusing on that strategy or that tool or that tactic to solve, the thing is that we're battling or that we don't like, reflecting. I love that visual of being in a movie theater and that projector to really help us understand that, how we can approach this.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Calvin, this has been really special. I know we're out of time here, but I'm just so grateful for your wisdom and your insight. I know my listeners, they haven't been exposed to anything like this before on the podcast, but it's so aligned with our mission to have abundance and the fact that money isn't always that way to happiness. And when we have it, that feeling you described of maybe we're still not happy because we need to do that internal work, and that abundance comes from inside of ourselves. So thank you so much. If folks want to hear more, where can they get in touch with you? Where can they read more?
Best place is go to my Instagram. So
Okay.
just my name, Calvin Correli on Instagram, and then follow me there and then send me a DM and just say, hey, you came from this podcast.
Okay.
And or write me message. I read my message, all my messages like, hey, I saw you on Secrets of Abundance Living podcast with Amy. Like this is, if you want to share your takeaway, like something that stood out to you, I'd love to hear that. But yeah, hit me up. I love to hear from people.
That's great. We'll make sure to put your Insta in the show notes. I would encourage everyone. How often do we run into somebody this high profile that reads their own DMs? That's really, really cool to be able to have the opportunity to talk to you and give a takeaway, share their experience with you on the podcast. Thank you for that.
Yeah, for sure. I love talking to people. It's super fun.
That's
That's how
great.
introverted I am.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah, absolutely. I love that perspective change of introvert versus extrovert. Well, Calvin,
Yeah.
thank you again. We're so grateful to have you on this episode. And folks, thanks for joining us today. Make sure to reach out to Calvin, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. If you like this, please make sure to share it with a friend. Give abundantly, help them hear about Calvin's ideas and how it might be able to help your friends' lives as well. Thanks again. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Secrets to Abundant Living podcast. We hope you found inspiration and valuable insights that will empower you on your journey towards abundance. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback means the world to us, and it helps others discover the secrets to an abundant life too. Stay connected with us on LinkedIn, Amy Sylvis. Keep striving for your goals, nurturing your relationships, and embracing the adventure that is life. Until next time, we wish you an abundantly fulfilling day.